For so many reasons, we put off the things we know we need to do, and most often what's most important, even though we know that on the other side we're going to experience pain and frustration when we look back and see all of those things that are half-started, undone, or just good ideas that we never actioned on. In today's video, I am going to break down procrastination and, most importantly, how to break the habit of procrastination, because if you procrastinate, most likely this is something that you have done continually. And it's not necessarily about understanding it more, but truly understanding how to insert and cut off that stimulus response reaction that you have when stress hits, and why you procrastinate and what to do instead. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jeff Augustinelli, and each week I put out a video to help you to master your mindset and performance so you can crush it in business and have plenty of time to live the lifestyle you choose. When it comes to procrastination, it helps to see it like this. Most of the times we procrastinate because it's a form of stress relief. Think about it. The last time you procrastinated on something, instead of writing the post, doing the video, launching the course, making the invitation, making the phone call, what you did instead, was it harder or was it easier? Most likely it was easier. Most likely, instead of doing the hard thing, you chose something that had a very fast path to satisfaction. Could have been scrolling on social media, liking some posts, doing anything other than what's most important. Because the truth is, procrastination is a way to relieve stress, but it's also understanding that you can't skip the hard steps. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Anything that requires focus, hard work, or even getting into flow has early stages of agitation, frustration, and stress that cannot be skipped. But if you know what the path looks like, and if you understand that even if you're going to get to these, the holy states of flow, so to speak, or if you're going to get into focus and hard work, that you're going to have to go through these early stages, once you know that you can expect that as the path, it's easier to see it when it comes up and be with it, instead of always hitting the eject button and flying into some other activity that may be immediately satisfying, but at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, when you look back and you see all of the times you started and then failed to launch, you have the same feeling of guilt, frustration, and all the things that come along with wanting to do something, knowing that that's the best path for you to take, but constantly being in this position of not getting started. Now, I could go into all of the biological reasons and the regions of the brain and how we evolved and all of these reasons why we procrastinate. But so many times complexity is the enemy of execution. And if you remember back to what I had mentioned at the beginning, it's my purpose in this video is to help you to have a very simple path from habit to new habit and get off the bench and into execution. Author and flow expert Steven Kotler talks about procrastination in a very simple way, and I love this. He says that procrastination is often because of one of two things. One is that the challenge is too hard, and two is that the challenge is too boring. I like to take this a step further and look at this as a spectrum. On one side, this challenge is too hard. On the other side, the challenge is boring AF. And if the challenge is boring AF, or if it's too hard, you know that somewhere in between is the sweet spot. Of course, if we don't believe that we're capable, or if we actually don't have the skills to accomplish what we're setting out to accomplish, it's going to be easy to procrastinate. And on the other side, if it's boring AF, it's not going to be engaging enough, and we're going to look for ways to entertain ourselves and find things to do with our time that are a lot more engaging and keep us engaged. So to sum this up, and again, to keep it very simple, there's these different aspects of procrastination. One of them is that procrastination is a habit. And when you form a habit, it's easy to go to that one way of being because it's what you're used to. So when it comes to breaking the habit of procrastination, it's more of a conversation of forming a new habit, not necessarily just beating procrastination. The second aspect of this is that procrastination is a way to relieve stress. So instead of looking at how do I beat procrastination, how do I relieve stress? and looking at ways that you can insert into your life to have that holistic perspective of relieving stress, having the outlets, doing the things in your life that you actually enjoy instead of just putting your nose to the grindstone constantly and always working, can help be the long-term solution to stress, but also having ways that you relieve stress in the immediate so that you can get off the bench and get into action. And the third thing, and the simplicity that I love of this, is what Stephen Kotler said about the main 2 reasons of why we procrastinate. 1 being that the challenge is too hard, and 2 being that the challenge is boring AF. Because if you're into growth, if you're into performance, most likely you enjoy a challenge, but what you're doing may be too much of a challenge or not enough of a challenge. And in that case, you fall prey to things that are more entertaining and more enjoyable than actually doing the thing that you know you need to do that's a bit more challenging. So now that you have these different aspects of procrastination, all that's really left is getting into action. So for this and forming a new habit, there's just one phrase I love to use that works almost every single time, and it's this: let's find out. Because there's so many times we can come up with the worst case scenario or all these negative things that could happen as a result, or why it would, maybe be a waste of time, or why it wouldn't work, or why we'd look stupid, to which you can now form a new habit instead of buying into those things and then falling into procrastination, scrolling on social media, doing a bunch of shit that doesn't matter. Instead, just say this one thing: let's find out. And then take the simplest, quickest path to action by finding the simple things you can to find out what's actually true in the situation, instead of constantly giving into the beliefs or those things that you think are the worst case scenario, or maybe even not the worst case scenario thing that might happen, instead of the actual facts, by finding out what will happen when you do the thing. If you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell that notifies you every time an episode goes live, and I'd also love to hear from you. What in this video really strikes you, really makes you think differently about procrastination, and most importantly, what are you gonna do as a result? Leave me a comment below, let me know, and until next time, see you soon.